fun begins.
How's it going?
Hello.
Well,
Greetings, young Jedi.
hello there.
Hey everyone, Hybrid Toy Reviews here, and today we're taking a look at another VeilsToys custom knockoff, not legit, not Hasbro, not licensed by Lucasfilm, but Star Wars The Black Series Clone Trooper. This one being a 501st HAO, which I believe is Heavy Assault Officer, which is loosely inspired by Battlefront 2 from 2005, and that is a heavy trooper with a comma and a Bakara helmet, but those were white in the game, and this one has a 501st spin on it, and there's nothing wrong with that in my opinion. I'm from the era of prequel kids where it was right after Revenge of the Sith, and Hasbro was taking the Revenge of the Sith commanders and troopers and everything special from that movie and putting them in random colors and selling them packed with a comic book or a Jedi or something and saying that this is Commander insert random name here, you know, where we got characters like Bo and Apo and whatever. And it's just what it is. And so this kind of thing, it really actually harkens back to my childhood. It makes me really happy to see when Hasbro decides, or not when Hasbro, when Veils decides to do this kind of thing. It's the kind of thing that Hasbro used to do that I wish they would do a little bit more often. So it's a really neat design. There were two variants available on AliExpress. I elected for this one. I don't think I need to end up with both of them. The difference is the other one had a little bit of a different thing going on the shoulder, like pauldron piece. It had a black comma, and instead of the blue flaring on the helmet, it was a stripe that just ran right up over the top. So otherwise, it's going to be very much the same figure, minus just some coloration. So hopefully this can still guide you. You know, if you're interested in getting the figure, it's very similar. So let's get into the review, see what we're getting here. So here we have him laid out. Let's take a look at his accessories first. It's always a great place to start. These accessories are nothing to write home about. They are the very standard DC-15 long and short variations, no paint, black plastic, and we have seen them a ton of times before. These particular ones, the rifle came out straight, and the short one has a bit of a bow in it. Veils has a little bit of an issue with these getting warped. I believe, honestly, it's when they put them in the bags with the figure, and then they get tousled around on shipping, they get laid on and stuff. So it's not a huge thing. You can run them under some warm water, straighten them out, and then dunk them in some cold, and it will retain the shape as you fix it. So nothing really crazy going on there. Looking at the figure, if you watched yesterday's video, if I'm uploading these in order of filming, which I believe I'm going to, you saw that I actually did the 2/12 variation. So what we're getting here is very, very similar. Although this one technically did drop on Veils first. I honestly wasn't sure I was going to get it, but I put in a big order for clones, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to get one of the two of these. And so I elected to go with this one, and I'm super glad that I did. So this features a Commander Bakara helmet. Technically these are dropping before Hasbro's, but Hasbro is working on a clone Commander Bakara. I say working, it's basically done. I mean, it's supposed to be out in April, which means that they're you know, on a cargo ship on the way to the US at this point. They should be showing up here in the next 2 to 3 months. So there's going to be some differences in sculpt between this one and Hasbro's, I'm sure, but they do represent the same thing, and this represents it very well, and I have no gripes. It's kind of like a Imperial officer, you know, like field helmet, the kind of open-faced bucket with a clone face going on with some gray flaps going on, kind of covering the mouth and the cheeks, and it does look really, really cool. The silver on the teeth of the exposed portion of the mouth are very, very light-catching. I do like that a lot. The antenna on mine, when it came in, just like the 2/12 I mentioned in that video, because they're bagged, it's very soft and rubbery. It was like laid on the helmet, like real far like that. And honestly, taking it out of the bag and just letting it sit on my table for a day straightened up a lot. I ran it under some warm water ultimately, though, and it straightened the rest of the way. It leans back just a kick, but there's nothing wrong with that. So, little piece of fluff on the head. Okay, so from the neck down, or I will show real quick, Veils always does the unpainted heads. This is the Hasbro sculpt. They have a smaller sculpt they use for some of their custom helmets, but they didn't feel the need here. And there's nothing wrong. This helmet doesn't look too big. You know, people say the removable helmets make them look like Funkos or Legos. The heads are too giant. I don't see it here. I think it's okay. I think it looks all right. So no gripes there. So from the neck down, other than the overlays, this is your 2023 Clone Trooper body, so which is something that we should be extremely familiar with at this point, because let's be fair, on this channel, we don't skip clone releases. We love our clones, and I will basically pick up at least one variety of anything that Veils makes. but this one was just super fun. So like I said, there's 2 variations. This is the tan comma version. I feel like I have a lot of black commas on the shelf and not a lot of tan, and I don't know that. I prefer the black commas, I think, but like, you gotta mix it up a little bit, right? You gotta mix it up a little bit. What really ultimately sold me is I think the other one has like a solid blue pauldron here, and I didn't really like that. I kind of like that it would contrast with the shoulder pad of the Trooper instead of just blending with it and making it look like a big mega shoulder pad. So I also like the little blue stripe going on here, and I think the stripe going over the helmet on the other one didn't widen at the top. I think it stayed skinny all the way across the top. And I don't know. I like my blue. I like my 501st. So I elected to go with this deco, and I'm super happy I did. Otherwise, the deco is very 501st Trooper with the kind of blue A on the chest. The shoulder pads are blue. You get a little ring around the wrists and on the bottom of the knee pads, and the dual stripes up the sides of each leg. Little blue border around the tan comma. It really, really does look the part, and I'm extremely satisfied with what Veils did here. It looks really, really cool. Again, I don't know if this is based on a particular 375. They've done that before. They've taken figures from comic packs and made them in 6-inch scale. Like, they have done that before, and then they don't even really announce it. They're just like 501st HAO, so if this is from a Order 66 2-pack or something, do tell me. I'm sure that there probably were 501st Picaras, but I mean, like, sometimes they make them so specific where it is the actual deco, So, like, if it is, like, extremely specifically from one thing or another, do let me know. So, yeah, let's go ahead and run through some articulation at this point. I mean, I've talked all I can. It is ultimately just a clone with some different parts, and we are extremely familiar with our clones, as I said. So, it has the new helmet, but the double ball neck system does allow it to look all the way up, basically straight up. That is excellent. And the nice thing with this helmet design is it doesn't really show the chin. I mean, a tiny bit, then, I don't know. It's one of the least chin-revealing clone helmets that we've seen, so I do really like that. It can, of course, turn and pivot and everything you would want it to do. Arms can come up to a nice T-pose, nice deep butterfly joint in there, and then they can 360 at the shoulder. There's a bicep rotation. Single jointed elbows can go a little past 90. Turn at the elbow, although the bicep turns a little easier. 360 at the wrist, with the left hinging in and out, and the right hinging up and down. They are using the dual trigger-fingered version here. I do like that a lot. That is my personal preference. I think hands should have trigger fingers, no matter what. You have a mid-torso ball joint, allowing him to crunch that far forward, that far down. It's slightly hindered by the strap overlay, but not like insanely or anything. You can get some turning. Of course, that's where you start like pushing the overlay way out of the way. So get that reseated. He can do that far of a splits. He can kick that far forward, a little bit back. There's an upper thigh rotation with single jointed knees. They can go a little past 90 degrees and then turn at the knee. The knee pad kind of just floats where it needs to be out of the way. I do like that. The feet can point that far down, that far forward, and there's a forward-facing pin for rocker, allowing you to get some really wide stances with both feet flat on the ground, like so. To do some size comparisons, here he is next to an official Hasbro Black Series clone, being the Phase 2 Captain Rex. Here he is next to the 501st Heavy, which came out shortly after this figure, but I reviewed first this week, and then the very, very similar 212th HAO Trooper. So yeah, all in all, they all rock at the same height, and I do like what we're getting here. So yeah, very well done figure. So at the end of the day, what do I think of the 501st Heavy Assault Officer Trooper? I think it's really cool. I think that it is a really fun, unique deco, just kind of random coloring of some parts that they surely already had made, but I like it. This just scratches an itch for me. All the clones I had as a kid were random repaints, just stuff, it wasn't ever anything that stood out particularly from a movie. I never had Gree or Neo or Cody or anything. It was always whatever dude that came in a pack with another clone trooper in a comic book, and, it was just what it was. So this really talks to me. I really like it. I have a shelf and a half of 501st already in the Detolf, and I'm just going to throw him in there with some of the random troopers, and he's going to be cool, and he's just going to hang out, and that is A-okay. So yeah, It's a pickup for me. If it in any way piques your interest, I think it should be a pickup for you. I recommend it. However, if you're just like, yeah, he's just a little too random for me, like, I totally get it too. If you rather just have just Phase 2 or Phase 1 grunts or whatever, like, I get why this might be a little out there for you. But for me, I grew up on this stuff, so this is kind of what I like. Hasbro used to do cool stuff like this. It'd be cool if they did again, but I understand they're busy just with their, requirements to just make the modern media that Disney contracts them to do. Like, I understand why we don't get this stuff anymore, but I miss it. So Veils really scratches that itch for me and makes me all sentimental about childhood. So I like it. But yeah, I recommend it. Super cool. I can say it a few more times, but that's the gist. I like it. So thanks for watching. It means a lot that you did. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that end of video stuff. You know the drill. I'm going to go work on something else for now. So until next time, may the Force be with each and every one of you, and goodbye.